Hello and welcome to my channel Today's Education. Today in this video I am going to explain the poem Coromandel Fishes written by Sarojini Naidu. So let's get started. At first let us know who was Sarojini Naidu. Sarojini Naidu was a political activist, feminist, poetess and the first Indian woman to be the president of the India, and also to be appointed an Indian state governor. She was sometimes called the Nightingale of India. Now, this poem, Coromandel Fishes, is though about the fisherman, yet it metaphorically reflects the poet's desire for free India as she was a freedom fighter. Now, come to the poem Coromandel Fishes by Sarojini Naidu. Rise, brothers, rise. The wakening skies pray to the morning light. The wind lies asleep in the arms of the dawn, like a child that has cried all night. Come, let us gather our nets from the shore and set our catamarans free, to capture the leaping wealth of the tide, for we are the kings of the sea. In stanza 1, the poet asks the fisherman to rise as the day is about to appear. She uses some symbols to tell this. First, she says that the wakening skies pray to the morning light, which means that the sky which was sleeping in the night has woken up and is welcoming the light. Now over here, the poet uses personification, a literary term, by using wakening, a human activity, and for the sky, a non-living thing. Next, she says, the wind lies asleep in the arms of the dawn like a child that has cried all night, meaning that the sea wind that leads to the storm is now calm, as the tides rise in the night because of moon's gravitational pull, because of the morning which is about to come. Thus, the wind is just like a child crying throughout the night, and now he is quiet. Here, the poet uses simile, again a literary term, to compare now calm wind with the child. By uses these two symbolic examples, she declares that the morning is near. In the third line, the poet asks the fisherman to gather nets from the shore and set catamarans, which means a kind of boat which is used by fishermen, in order to capture the leaping wealth of the tide. Now children, over here the leaping wealth means fishes, okay? For we are the kings of the sea. According to the poet, the fishermen should collect their nets from the seashore and take their boats because the tide is full of wealth. And they are the kings. They just need to go to the sea to capture the wealth that is theirs. Hence, they should hurry. Now students, let's move on to the second stanza. No longer delay, let us hasten away in the track of the seagulls call. The sea is our mother, the cloud is a brother, the webs are our comrades all. What though we toss at the fall of the sun, where the hand of the sea god drives? He who holds the storm by the hair will hide in his breast our lives. In stanza 2, the poet asks the fisherman to do everything fast. The seagull's call is a symbol used to depict that morning is near. The poet calls sea as their mother, cloud as their brother, and sea waves as their comrades, that is, companions. Here again the poet uses personification, a literary term. Sea is considered the mother because it feeds the fishermen and helps them to sustain their life. Similarly, clouds are their brother because they guide the fishermen while the webs are companions because they keep moving with them. The poet thus wants to say that they all are family and help each other. She urges others not to fear because even if they could not return back to their home, By the sunset, the sea god, which according to her holds the sea storm by the hair, will serve them, hide in his breast their lives. In the last line, she asks the fisherman to depart for the point in the sea where the sun meets the sky horizon. Symbolically, it refers infinity or a place without end. In this perspective, she asks the fisherman to drive into the infinite sea. Okay, let's move on to the last stanza. Sweet is the shade of the coconut glade and the scent of the mango grove, and sweet are the sands of the full moon with the sound of the voices we love. But sweeter, O brothers, the kiss of the spray and the dance of the wild foam's glee. Row, brothers, row to the edge of the verge, where the low sky meets with the sea. In the final stanza, the poet says that the shade of coconut glade, the scent of the mango grove, and the sands at the moon, with the sound of the voices they love, are sweet and also enjoyable. But these joys are only temporary. Rather, they should go for the kiss of the spray, the water drops falling on the force while in the sea, and the dance of the foam's glee, the foam which forms by the up-down movement of the tides, which according to the poet are sweeter and also worth struggling. Now I have completed explaining the poem. In my next video, I am going to share the question answers along with the summary of the poem Coromandel Fishes. So if you like my video, please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Till then,